Hello beautiful and welcome back to another video.
I bet if I give all my love, then nothing's gonna tear us apart.
Girl, today we are getting ready together. We are literally doing our makeup, doing our hair, and yapping, but we're not just yapping about anything. We are yapping about our internal glow up, our boundaries, our self-healing, our self-love journey. Specifically, I want to talk about attachment styles because it's been on my mind a lot. If you are into all things self-love, self-care, attachment styles, you want to learn how to glow from the inside out, then this is the video for you. And if you are into all things glowing up, becoming a better you, this is the community for you. So don't forget to subscribe, like this video, comment something down below. But girl, we were yapping, so let's just get straight into today's video. Hey girl, I hope this setup is okay. I'm testing out different setups. Like, it's not the most aesthetic in the world, but girl, we're just chit-chatting today. We're just yapping. We're just getting ready together. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. But before we get into today, I already did my skin prep and I already applied my primer just so we can like jump into it, but I did want to tell you about it. So I went ahead, I washed my face like normal. I then went in with a toner, and this is the Ilia The Base Face Milk. It's marketed as a lightweight moisturizer. If you have oily skin, this might be all that you need, but a couple drops of this, it's really moisturizing, really watery texture. I personally use this as a great makeup base kind of toner. Then I will go in with a serum and a moisturizer. So cleanse my face, I do my hydrating toner, then I go in with a Charlotte Tilbury Magic Serum. This is their Crystal Elixir Serum. It has vitamin C in it, and I pair it with her Magic Cream. These two go really, really well together. Obviously, Magic Serum, Magic Cream. I really like the way that it plumps my skin, makes my skin super hydrated without being greasy. Those two are amazing. And then as for primer, I'm using the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Water Power Serum. This is amazing for really mattifying out the skin, which we need today because there will be pictures, there'll be photography, there'll be everything like that. So this is amazing. All of these products are tried and true. I'm really not using anything new to me. So these are really kind of like my holy grails. And because this is like a special event, there's gonna be, you know, cameras and photography and video that needs to be filmed. These are my long wearing products. These are my like a little bit more heavy duty products. So this is definitely not like an everyday look, more so a special events look. But yeah, girl, I just want to yap to you. So all the products will be down in the description. I really want to have a girl chat today about a specific aspect of our kind of internal glow up that is going to come up eventually in your journaling, in your shadow work, and just your like general self-healing journey. And that is attachment styles, detachment, everything like that. It is so integral. And I'm really kind of speaking to myself during this right now because as I get into, you know, my late 20s, I'm 27 now, my attachment style feeds into my love language, feeds into my triggers, feeds into, you know, how I receive and how I give love. And it can even, you know, expand to, you know, work, career, my productivity, how I move throughout this life. It's almost like a central part of your glow up journey that if you don't quite understand and if you don't quite talk it through, you're gonna be confused how all of these aspects of your internal glow up are gonna come together. It can kind of feel like you're working on different things separately and you're like, how am I gonna get to a healed place? A lot of it does start with understanding everything about attachment. Now, girl, I'm not a therapist. Like, I'm really just speaking almost like big sister to little sister, or sister to sister, or, you know, younger sister to older sister. I'm speaking from experience. I'm speaking from a place where I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known this earlier. I wish I would have known this at all, because it would have definitely helped so many relationships, so many situations, so many, you know, seasons in my life if I just had a chance to talk about this with somebody, if I understood it a little bit better. But that's what this community is for. That's what our glow up journey is for. It's understanding these different kind of topics and having a safe space to like learn and understand and see how it applies to our life that really aids in our glow up journey. So you may be wondering, Jasmine, what's an attachment style? We rarely get to pick our attachment style. At the end of the day, humans crave connection. Even the ones that are like introverts, every now and then we seek out connection in some form. That's what us humans are born to do, is to form relationships with other people. And you know, I say this all the time. You can have this self-healing journey, this self-love journey. There's a lot of work that you need to do on your own, but eventually you're gonna have to go out into the world and experience other people, experience other situations. And what happens when you start to do that? Your attachment style comes. Because our attachment style was formed in early childhood when we were born, and it's specifically from our experiences and relationships with our primary caregiver, whether that is our mom, whether that's dad, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, whatever it might be, whoever primarily cared for us in the beginning stages of our life, and the experiences that we had from them and our environment is how we started to form our attachment style. So like I said, you can do all of the self-healing in the world, but eventually you're gonna have to go outside. You're gonna have to go on that first date. You're gonna have to go on that friendship date. You're going to have to sign up for that course and take that leap. You're going to have to experience this world, and the lens that we see this world through all stems back to, you know, our experiences in childhood. Like, it'll always go back to childhood, at least in my experience. You know, every argument, every breakup, every friendship breakup, every dealings I've had to deal with my family, it all stems back to things I experienced as a child that formed my perception on different things. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video, and I just wanted you to do a Google search. I'll include a link down below, and I want you to type in attachment style quiz. It's a really good baseline to kind of show you where to start, what your, you know, predicted attachment style is. I believe there are 4, maybe 5 attachment styles. So the first one is the anxious attachment style. These people really worry about their relationships. They really crave the closeness of their relationships. Often kind of like a telltale sign of this is they can tend to feel really insecure about their partners or the other person's feelings towards them. These people like tend to have a lot of kind of people-pleasing tendencies. So with this attachment style, you can tend to be overly dependent, and you might need like constant reassurance. Again, once you take the quiz, you can look up characteristics of this, but jealousy, overly possessive, kind of like that neediness, those are all kind of hallmarks of that anxious attachment style. Then we have the opposite, and that is avoidant attachment styles. These people keep people at an arm's length distance at all times, especially emotionally. Their main priorities is kind of like their independence or self-sufficiency. It's really, really hard for them to release control in their life. And that's really all because they do this to avoid that kind of emotional dependency. So it's interesting. Anxious attachment style kind of views themselves as like in a negative, like they think something's wrong with them, and that's why people don't want to be close to them. Avoidants actually view themselves in a very positive light, and they view everybody else as negative or something's wrong with them. Everything's very external. Things are always happening to them. Obviously, these people tend to push people away, and it's not that these people don't crave emotional intimacy. It's that when they get it, they feel uncomfortable and they tend to push it away. It's almost like I can't get hurt by it if I don't have it. That brings us to our third attachment style, and this is my personal attachment style. It is called the disorganized attachment style. These people, me, we're wild cards. We have a mix of anxious and avoidant. We crave emotional intimacy, but when we get it, we push people away. We have a really hard time trusting other people. It's like we desire close relationships, like we deeply desire it, but we're also like really afraid of getting hurt. These people can tend to have a negative view of themselves and of others. They can find it extremely difficult to maintain relationships. attachments. And it's like I said, these are wild cards, so it's really unpredictable behavior. I did read some text that it doesn't depend, but the way that we act really depends on the other person. So if the other person tends to have more of an avoidant attachment style, you know, we're gonna have an anxious attachment style, or vice versa. Like, it depends on who we're around. And there's just like a general feeling of like unworthiness or like helplessness. You know, it's really just like a wild card situation. I've also read that these are the most difficult people kind of in therapy, because the way that we act, it's the way that we act, completely depends on the situation. So in like isolated, you know, relationships like therapy, we're highly self-aware, but when you put us with another person, it depends on that other person how the situation's gonna act, how we respond to it. Girl, I know I'm difficult. Maybe that is why I'm so interested in attachment styles, because for someone like me, whatever relationship I'm in is just kind of different based off of that other person's attachment style. I was kind of like sick of always being swayed by another person and not having done the self-healing on myself to, you know, move towards a more kind of secure attachment style, or, you know, just have other people's behaviors or actions or words kind of influence my thinking. Like, I wanted to be emotionally intelligent and strong on my own. The other people's opinions of me, other people's actions didn't influence my thoughts on my own self. And that brings me to the secure attachment style, something that we're all striving to be. I think if you were to ask me like 3-4 years ago, I was very disorganized attachment styles. Like, it was blatantly clear in my relationships. My relationships were toxic, don't get me wrong, but there was, you know, a small part of it that's like, why didn't I leave sooner? Why did I let someone's awful opinion of me and their words form my view on myself? They were equally, you know, not good to me, but there was also a role in that. I think that it was, I wanted to prove myself to somebody. And for a long time, that is how I operated. And it wasn't until I took the time to be single, and then I think it was also accelerated by, you know, my relationship that I'm in now, which is really kind of like my first healthy relationship, that I started to move towards, you know, working towards a secure attachment style. And these people, God's favorites, have a positive view of themselves and other people. These are the people that actually actively practice detachment, which after this video, I'm filming a whole other video on detachment, because, you know, this is kind of the root of that secure attachment style, is detachment. So these people are, you know, they're optimistic. They find it, you know, a little bit easier to get close with people. They don't emotionally depend on people, but they appreciate, you know, emotional intimacy, the benefits of getting close to somebody and trusting somebody. They really have that kind of like healthy balance between their own dependence and then also, you know, asking for help, also relying on other people. These are the people that have healthy boundaries. They enact those boundaries if someone is threatening them. This is what we're working towards in our internal glow up, those healthy boundaries for ourselves. I don't mean shutting off the world from everybody. What I mean is other people's actions don't have anything to do with you. They don't take stuff personally. They've worked on themselves and their boundaries and communicating those boundaries with other people, that they are detached from other people's inner workings in their own head. They don't try to control the situation. And that's really, really important for your glow up journey, because, you know, it is all about you, but it would be silly once we're on our glow up journey to not consider, you know, making new friends, having a new partner, dealing with family, dealing with outside noise when, you know, you start to better yourself and you hear like other people critiquing that and like, oh, she's in the gym a little bit more, like she's not gonna keep up with it, or, you know, she's dressing a little bit different, oh, she thinks she's bougie, oh, she took this trip on herself, like she thinks she's better. Like, no, it's none of that, but that's what we're gonna have to face on our glow up journey. So it's really, really important to figure out about ourselves and how we interact with other people. And again, that all stems from your attachment style. If you feel comfortable, girl, I would love to know what your attachment style is down below. If you took the quiz, whatever it might be, like, you know, just if you feel comfortable, if you feel like it's a safe space, you know, I would love to hear, you know, what your attachment style is. Maybe some things that you kind of like noticed about your particular attachment style. Just let me know. This is a safe space. So, including that quiz I told y'all to take, you can also go on Pinterest and find some really great journal prompts. If you just type in like attachment style, you can find some really great resources to kind of, you know, have a meeting with yourself to understand why you act the way, you know, that you act. Knowledge is power. Once you understand your attachment style, don't see it as a hindrance. See it as, I finally know what to work on. It's almost like a diagnosis. It's like going throughout your entire life, not understanding, you know, why certain things trigger you, why it's hard for you to stick to a job, or it's hard for you to be in relationships, or why you attract certain people. Once you understand your attachment style, it's like, okay, now I have a roadmap. Now I have a title to it. Now I know what to work towards. This is really, really powerful and important for your glow up journey, because communication with other people is important, but communication with yourself is the utmost important. That's how we enact boundaries. You know, a lot of times we hear have boundaries, but boundaries look different for a lot of different people. And you might know what boundaries to enact based off of certain scenarios. You know, we all might have the boundary of like, no nonsense with cheating, or, you know, not raising your voice at me because that triggers me. Understanding why that triggers you, but also your attachment style can also give you some guidelines of what boundaries you need to set that, you know, you might not have from experience, but are attuned to your attachment style so that you can form healthy relationships with people. And again, this goes for friends, this goes for family, this goes for career, this goes for coworkers. This is a great time to start doing shadow work. Now, I've mentioned shadow work across my platform for years, but it's basically, you know, things that happened in our childhoods, things that formed our attachment styles that we've kind of put off into the shadows, but our shadows are always a part of us. And what happens, they start to form and influence the way that we act, but because we're not acknowledging them, we don't understand precisely where it's coming from. We might have an idea, but until we acknowledge why certain things affected us the way that it did, it's forever going to stay in the childhood and just make life difficult for us. So shadow work allows us, through different journal questions, different prompts, to uncover why we feel the way that we do. And through your shadow work, you're really gonna start to understand and piece together, oh, this is where my attachment style comes from. This is why I get so triggered when this happens. This is a way to move forward. These are the boundaries I need to set up. This is the way that I can start healing. I want to give you a personal anecdote that kind of really set me down this path of understanding my attachment style. So although I've been in really toxic relationships, one of the things that I did that was toxic, and honestly I would call emotional manipulation, and so attuned to my attachment style, is, you know, in arguments, I would threaten to leave or threaten an ultimatum, when in reality, I wanted the opposite. I just wanted that person to prove their love for me. I just wanted to hear that they didn't want to lose me. I would do this and I would think that this was just like a form of fighting for a relationship. When you threaten a relationship ending, when you want the exact opposite and you actually want them to tell you that they want this more, that's emotional manipulation. That stems from losing my dad at a young age. That is where my attachment style comes from. Dealing with death at a young age, and that's kind of where I get that unpredictable, disorganized attachment style. Because I feel like at a very pinnacle age, I lost my father. I've always felt like I wish I would have been like old enough to ask, you know, the important questions. Like I lost him when I was like 12 or like 13. But also losing a father, you know, at that age, which is like puberty age, you really start to understand stuff. You don't really have a male figure, you know, in your life. So your relationships become the male figure in your life. And because they become the male figure in your life, you let the opinions of 14, 15, 16-year-old boys form how you view yourself, because the only other opinion is your mom. And my mom worked a lot, and I was the only black kid in a white neighborhood. You can already start to piece together my issues with self-esteem, my issues with validation, my issues with abandonment, my issues with reassurance. Like, everything was very confusing to me, and I can clearly see why I am a disorganized attachment style. It's like I want the approval from my mom, I want the approval from, you know, everyone else so badly, but I also, you know they didn't have the best intentions, but I also knew I wasn't the best person, you know, as well. And it came up a lot in my shadow work, that abandonment issues, wanting people to stay, but also wanting them to prove it to me. I noticed in a lot of my relationships, I was always kind of like the main financial person in all my relationships. I would give these gifts hoping that they would stay, like it would give them a reason to stay, or, you know, I would try to act on my best behavior, or just try to give them the world so that they couldn't have a reason to leave me. Luckily, you know, I got out of those relationships, but now that I have a boyfriend that's almost like a mirror to me, in a lot of toxic relationships, you can tend to hide behind their toxicity because they're the ones that are doing it. You don't really get a chance to work on yourselves. But when you have someone with really healthy communication that talks through disagreements, doesn't fly for that kind of like emotional manipulation over small disagreements, like it forces you to recognize your own healing that you need to do and kind of go back to the drawing board. It's like, okay, why does this trigger me? Why does, if I notice a slight tone change, did I think that they're not into me, or I think that they're going to leave me? Like, why do I expect the worst? And this is why we all need to go into therapy. Because at the end of the day, you know, whether you're single or whether you're with your partner, this channel is all about our glow up journey. We're here to become our favorite self, our higher self, our best self. So, you know, we're all working for ourselves, and that is lovely, but we also have to consider that we may want a partner at the end of this glow up journey, or during this glow up journey, or we might already have a partner, you know, in our life while we are trying to work on ourselves. Glow up journeys can only be in isolation so long. And I would be remiss if I didn't make a video like this, and maybe I can make others, what your glow up journey means when you kind of like reacclimate yourself to the world. You know, you're gonna lose friends, you might lose relationships, you might lose family in your life. Your old life is going to cost you, and it should. Honestly, girl, I know it might sound silly, but I feel like the Jasmine 3 years ago, the Jasmine in college, the Jasmine in law school, even the Jasmine in business school, like I feel like I glowed up so hard that I almost feel like the people that I knew in college, I have to like reintroduce myself to them. I just feel like a different person. The boundaries, the way that I carry myself, you know, what I will and won't allow from how other people treat me, but from how I treat myself. The immense amount of work I've had to do from the inside out to get to this point, it's beautiful, but it was ugly to kind of get here, and that is okay. I don't want my old life. I don't want to think how I used to think about myself. I don't want reincarnations of old relationships, old friendships. I don't want certain family members to think that they can talk to me any type of way. You know, I would love to hear your opinion in the comments, but I feel like your glow up journey has 3 different phases. These phases aren't in order. It's whatever, you know, your situation or your life calls you to attend to. And I think these different phases are, you know, your internal glow up, the boundaries, the self-healing, the journaling, the shadow work, getting back into therapy. And then, you know, you have your physical glow up, which is always fun. These are our self-care nights. These are changing up our hairstyle. These are our nails. These are our beauty maintenance routines. These are our morning rituals and our morning habits. Your internal glow up and your physical glow up will start to intertwine. You know, the more you work out, the better you feel about yourself from the outside in. The more you know, you can buy clothes that more express your personality. The more you feel good in those clothes, the more you learn how to do your makeup, and you learn how to do your hair, and you start feeling good. So you start smiling at people. You might start meeting, it all intertwines with itself. But I would be remiss to say if there was not a third part of our glow up journey, and I don't know what I would call it. I don't know if I would call it like lifestyle, or I don't know what I would call it, but it's taking everything that we learn in our apartment, in our home, in our room, and it is putting it into actual practice, interacting with people, interacting with our world, from all the things that we've done in the comfort of our own home and for our own eyes. Eventually, we're gonna have to get out into the world and experience the world as our higher self. Our higher self is not, you know, in a vacuum. And y'all know when I realized this the most, you know, I felt like I was kind of like in self-isolation. And you know, a lot of people just chalk this up to growing older, but I think with growing older, you know, eventually you're gonna grow, you're gonna change, you're gonna work on yourself. Like, you can call it a glow up journey, you can call it growing up, whatever. But I really realized this when I had done so much internal work. I would go to the same parties or the same locations that, you know, the version of myself kind of before I kind of started this glow up journey would go. And I just viewed those situations. I viewed the people there, not with like condescending, but just like, this does not fit my higher self. I don't enjoy this. I don't grab energy from this. I don't feel the depth in this. And you know, there was a time where I was in my young 20s and I was free, and I have stories for days with my best friends, getting lit and laughing in elevators and finding ourselves in crazy situations. Like, those memories have their time and place. When you really start working on yourself and you might put yourself back in some of those same situations, you're just going to be like, this does not serve me anymore. This does not aid my higher self for everything that I'm working towards. Okay, girl, so my camera's overheating right now. So I am just gonna finish up the rest of my makeup, and then we will move on to hair.
All she talking about is coming soon for us. Come and see me for us. You don't ever come to me. You don't ever come to me. All she ever said is come and see me for us. Come and see me for us. You don't ever come to me. You don't ever come to me. I've been up for 2 whole days thinking what I did to keep you going. Thumbing through the voicemails that you left me, telling me where I went wrong. I'll admit I'm sorry when I've been, I'm truly sorry. Things change, people change, feelings change.
Okay, girl, we're back. I think today I'm just gonna do some simple curls in my hair. I have a new hairspray I want to test out. It's by Nexus. This is the XXL Volume Medium Hold Hairspray. Whenever I see like medium hold hairsprays, I'm like, why would you want medium hold? I guess because it's gonna be like less sticky. But before this, I haven't washed my hair, honestly, since I got it done, which was about like a week and a half ago. I'm gonna wait until Monday, today's Saturday, to wash my hair. So I just popped some dry shampoo, the Amika one. I love that one. For my sew-in girlies, my closure girlies, definitely invest in a good dry shampoo. It'll be your best friend for extending the life. You just have to make sure it's a good dry shampoo, because at the end of the day, this is still Brazilian hair, Cambodian hair, Indian hair. So you want to not put a ton of product on it. It definitely extends the life. Like, my hair, you know, still smells fresh, feels fresh. It makes it easier for curling the hair too. I hope this doesn't have a horrible scent to it. We're gonna see. I've used the heat defense spray. It seems like it's really gonna hold. I can tell fairly quickly. Medium hold hairspray that holds mega volume for up to 48 hours. Protects against wind, moisture, and whatever else comes your way. 72-hour humidity shield, 48-hour frizz control, no stickiness, and color safe. Wow, maybe I should spray some a little bit on my edges. So girl, we left off on attachment styles, glowing up, you know, the different phases of your glow up. and how attachment styles can really be a roadmap for you in becoming your higher self, becoming your best self. We don't only want the car and the bags and, you know, the hair, and we don't want just the aesthetics of our higher self. We truly want to feel like that girl. We want to walk in the room and command the room. We want to feel confident in ourselves. We want to work on our self-esteem. We want to work on our boundaries. You know, it isn't our fault what happened to us, but it is our responsibility to heal from it. To see how some of the things that we've gone through in our life can make us stronger, that we can use towards our advantage, that somehow we can use our story to connect with people that are maybe going through the same thing. I mean, imagine going through something heartbreaking like losing a father, losing a parent, and, you know, staying in that hurt, or, you know, in my case, you build up the courage to share your story thinking no one's really gonna care about, you know, what a random girl from a suburb in Chicago has gone through, and all of a sudden you build a platform from other women that are on their healing journey, that are trying to better themselves, that have gone through similar things, and if they haven't gone through that exact thing, they've gone through that level of hurt or abandonment or are just trying the best for themselves. And all of a sudden you build this community of women and you're here today talking to them. Like, I say that to say is you never know how your hurt may transform into bettering somebody else's life and ultimately bettering your life. Personally, I refuse to let my hurt go to waste. Like, okay, I done been through this and it hurt and it sucked and it's painful, you know, but I'm going to take this, I'm gonna do the internal work I need to do on myself, I'm gonna do the physical work I need to do on myself, and I'm gonna get back into the world and I'm gonna find that healthy partner. I'm gonna find those good girlfriends. I'm gonna find that hiking group. I'm gonna find that Pilates class. I'm gonna find that community that feels safe to me, that understands my story, that I can feel vulnerable in, that I can continue to be my higher self in. And getting into those communities, finding those communities starts with, again, your attachment style. You know, God is never going to put something into your life that you can't handle. Maybe the thing that you want so badly that you don't think that you are ready for, you're being prepared for right now. You have to trust his plan. And in order to trust his plan, while he's making things work in the background for you, while God's making things work out in the background for you, you need to almost be like a soldier and prepare on your own. Do that self-healing, go out into the world, experience things, set those boundaries. So when you do get that thing, that life that you want so badly, you can keep it. Maybe my story and what I've been through can help you in whatever situation you're in, you know, whether it's family, whether it's relationships, whether it's, you know, trying to make new friends, just some things that I've learned on my own journey being a disorganized attachment style, understanding, you know, my love languages. My love languages are words of affirmations and acts of service. And, you know, being in my healthy relationship, although this is my first one, we're about to celebrate 2 years in a few months, in 2 months. I've learned enough and picked up enough through my self-healing journey that I would be remiss if I didn't share some things that I've learned through my attachment style, through my shadow work, through my self-practice, ongoing self-practice of detachment, that have helped me on my glow-up journey, on my internal glow-up journey. Also, side note, y'all, I don't know who labeled this medium hold. I mean, we're gonna see at the end of the day, but this feels pretty strong. Like, it feels pretty strong. I'll be very interested when I brush it all out, but I mean, I'm not mad at it. It just says medium hold, but you know, I've experienced enough. I'm very interested when I brush this out. Like, it feels like maximum hold right now. So the first thing I really put into practice, which was really important for me on my glow up journey, is the let them theory. Now, I think I first heard this from Mel Robbins. If y'all have ever heard of Mel Robbins, her podcast is amazing. Highly recommend watching her one with Sarah Jakes Roberts. That one was so good. I think even Mel almost was brought to tears by Sarah Jakes Roberts. She's amazing. But Mel Roberts was talking about this thing called let them. It's a very, very simple practice of detachment at the end of the day. And, you know, I think a lot of times in my life, I tried to control situations. And then by their point, tried to control situations, tried to prevent someone from leaving me. I started instilling this thing just called let them. And it took a lot of pressure off of me mentally and just this whole concept of not forcing a situation. So, you know, if someone wants to break up with you or leave you, let them. If you don't get offered a job that you think you were overqualified for, perfectly qualified for, that means you weren't supposed to be there, let them. You know, if someone is acting out of character or gossiping about you or, you know, just talking down on you, let them. It's embarrassing for them. Obviously, there is some self-work that they need to do, some childhood drama they're still working on. Like, feel bad for them, like, let them. I am only in control of me, and the more mental energy I spend even trying to control a situation or trying to control what people think about me, I'm not God. I don't see multiple different perspectives. I can't see into anybody's mind. It's a lot easier for me mentally to just let them. Let them leave, let them think what they want to, let them act how they want to, let them destroy their own lives, let them pick themselves back up, let them. And I've really been adhering to that. I even have to speak it out loud, you know. Even if, you know, maybe I'm in a parking lot and, you know, someone's mad that I took their parking spot or, you know, they're angry driving, let them. Just let them. What you want is not always what you need. I know we know this. What we need and what we want is two different things. I think in my last relationship, as toxic as I was, I can remember thinking like, I don't know if I'm gonna find a love like this. Like, I want this so badly. I want this to work. I want this to work out. Like, I don't want this to end. I'm gonna fight tooth and nail. Not even knowing that the Jasmine fast forward in a year is in a healthy relationship with a beautiful man and is smiling and laughing and traveling the world. Like, that's not what I needed in that moment. It might have been what I wanted, but it's not what I needed. It wasn't filling me up. It wasn't pouring into me. Sometimes the things that, you know, we need, the things that are better for ourselves, they don't feel good. And it doesn't have to feel good, sis. It literally doesn't have to feel good. You can cry about it. You can be angry about it. You can punch a pillow if you need to. Whatever you might need, doing the right thing for yourself doesn't have to feel good. It's not all butterflies and roses. You can cry about it. If you know that something is what you need versus what you want, and you know only you can really tell yourself that based off of your experience, then you have to follow that. Another thing that I've really kind of had to teach myself is to let people be who they are. You know, you're gonna meet a lot of people and even people in your life that are not meant to be in the next phase of your life. Sometimes people are only there for a season, and people have their own attachment styles. You know, your boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, mom, dad, sibling, everybody has their own attachment styles. And allowing people to be who they are instead of almost being like a chameleon and attuning to what you think that they need from you, just allowing them to be who they are and to move throughout the world and understand just how you have your journey, they have their own journey, is going to take a lot less pressure off of you for you to enact boundaries for yourself. Instead of, boundaries isn't to keep people away, it's to protect yourself. It's an internal thing. It isn't, you know, a two-way streak. It's inward, you know? And once you learn that, you're gonna have better communication with these people. You're gonna be able to understand them a lot better. When you come from a place of understanding, whether they come from a place of understanding or not, again, just let them. That is how you heal. That is your experience. That's what you take from that to go on to the next person or the next situation. The last thing I'm gonna leave you with is knowing that suffering is a refusal to accept what actually is. You know, I've been hearing a couple good quotes that have really stuck with me on my timeline. And, you know, a couple of them are just to the illusion of worrying is basically praying for something to happen. You know, you're putting it out into the universe. And when you suffer, you refuse to accept what is. God does not put us on this earth to suffer. He does not give us situations or partners or experiences for us to suffer. It's only to prepare us for his greater plan, right? So when we're suffering, it's like self-sabotage. It's like it's like a self-inflicting wound. You know, a lot of times I found myself silently, you know, suffering in relationships, whether it's family, friends, career, or whatever, because of a refusal to accept what is. At the end of the day, my dad passed away. That hurt so deeply. And it left me with an abandonment wound. It left me with abandonment issues. That is what it is. I'm not gonna feel bad for myself. I'm not gonna wallow in that. I'm especially not going to use that as an excuse for my actions. I accept that. I have abandonment issues. Now, what am I gonna do about it? You know, on one hand, you know, I can go to therapy. I can work on my attachment styles. You know, whenever I get into disagreements with people, I can, you know, take a step back and I can, you know, respond and not react based off of that attachment style. But I can also connect with other women that lost their father. You know, I can connect with them on a deeper level. I can empathize with people that have lost a parent. I can use that empathy and I can use that connection and I can use that community to build friendships, to build community. You know, it doesn't always have to go from sucking down your pain and, you know, moving forward. It's like, oh, I'm gonna avoid attachment style. Like I'll never grow out of it. Like that's not the case. Our internal glow up is a pursuit to that secure attachment style, is a pursuit to that healing, is a pursuit to a better us. And it goes both ways. It goes both to understanding why we act the way that we are, but also seeing how we can shape and use our story to impact other people. Whether, you know, that's one-on-one, connecting with people, or, you know, that's joining an organization. Again, eventually all of this healing that we're gonna do on ourselves, eventually we have to take our story and make the world a better place. I'm gonna finish up these last 2 pieces of hair and I will meet you right back here. Okay, y'all, let's brush out this hair. Let us see. Oh, perfect. This is exactly how I love my hair to be, like loose waves, a little bit tousled, but very voluminous. Like I like it to still have shape, but I don't like it to be too defined. Very interested to see how this hairspray is gonna hold. So far, so good. My hair doesn't feel super sticky, very voluminous. Wow. If I like how my curls look at the end of the day, I will link this down below. If not, I'm not recommending this to you. So if you find a link to this in the description, that means to get this. But yeah, the hair looks really good. So I'm going to go put on my outfit and I will meet you back here to share like my fragrances and everything, and then we'll close out the video. Okay, girl, we are all dressed. I'm wearing this jumpsuit from Andrea Ayama. I am obsessed with her. Sorry, excuse the background. But girl, we need to leave in 15 minutes. So today's body butter is the Josie Moran whipped argan body butter oil, and it is in Topless Tangerine. I'm just gonna apply this on my arms because not any other part of my body is really shown right now. And then today's scent, I wanted to go for something really classy and elevated. I'm going in Louis Vuitton. Girl, I cannot pronounce that. And you see I have it engraved. When you go to Louis Vuitton, you can get them engraved. It only takes a couple seconds, but this is like the perfect, not gonna bother anybody else's nose, but is like, what are you wearing kind of fragrance. What do we think? Do we look speaker ready? This is like one of my dreams manifested. I've mentioned this a couple of times, but I truly feel like the type of person I am, I love being able to reach you on social media, but if I can be in front of you, if I can meet you, if I can hug you, if I can touch your hand, then that means so much more to me. So I love these kind of like speaking engagements. You know, I have this one, I'm speaking at Spotify with Spellman. I'm going back to my business school and teaching some MBA students. And then at the end of the month, I am speaking in Iceland. It's just my dream. I just love it. So I really, really hope you enjoyed this girl chat. Let me know if you kind of like these kind of like get ready with me's, you know, just chit chatting. Today's was on internal glow up. Let me know if I should film another one, what we should talk about. Thank you so much for joining this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, comment down below your attachment style if you feel comfortable doing so, or just comment down below in general. I would love to hear from you. But I hope you have a beautiful morning. I hope you have a beautiful afternoon, a beautiful night. I love you so much, girl, and thank you so much for joining me in another video, and I will see you next time. Bye, girl.
I bet if I give all my